This is Classic FM from Global.
Hello, nice to be back with you after the Easter holidays. Some of you will have spent that time buried under books. So tonight's show is full of soundtracks to help you revise.
Next Level with DanTDM.
That track chills me out from the first few notes. It's Sweden from Minecraft by C418. And I'm someone who doesn't want a lot going on in the background when I revise, so that track with its piano melody worked perfectly. Hello and welcome to Next Level. I'm DanTDM, and on this show, we bring you the best orchestral video game music. And like I mentioned, this evening's show is going to be filled with music to help you revise. So if you're studying late in the library or listening on Global Player while you're revising with your friends, I hope these gaming soundtracks will help you to concentrate. Oh, and if you're past the stage in life when you have to revise, maybe this episode can help you to focus on a task at work or pay attention to a tricky job around the house. And speaking of concentrating, my next pick comes from a puzzle game with a great soundtrack. This is Little Big Planet on Classic FM. 2 tracks into today's show, and I'm already really enjoying the vibes. I love how easygoing that one was. It makes me feel like I'm floating through the air. The Crouch End Festival Chorus and London Philharmonic Orchestra playing Little Big Planet, Orb of Dreamers by Daniel Pemberton. And while we're on the topic of puzzles, I thought I'd share a classical pick that has been used on the old school NES game Binary Land. You have to unite 2 love-struck penguins while listening to gentle piano music from French composer Eric Satie. This is the perfect stuff from my revision special on Classic FM tonight. That was Jean-Yves Thibaudet playing Je te veux by Eric Satie. Thanks to Willem, who emailed me with that suggestion. And if you can think of an example of classical music featured in the gaming world, send me your ideas via the comment box on classicfm.com. Shout out to Taylor and Millie, who are getting through a few busy weeks at college. They emailed me to say that they love the show, and I really hope that this revision special is helping to keep you super focused tonight. I also want to mention Erin, who has been back home for Easter playing games with her brother. Sounds super fun. She said she's been listening to Next Level while working on her final assignment for her first year at uni. Erin, this music is designed to keep you motivated. Right, this next one is a new discovery for me. It's a relaxing indie game that was released in 2014 for PS4, Entwined. The music was written by Sam Marshall, who has more recently composed the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 soundtrack. This is called Transcendental Sunrise from Entwined.
You're listening to Classic FM.
Both of these games have a very soft graphical style, and I think that shows in the two pieces that I've just played. We started with Sam Marshall's soundtrack for the game Entwined, and then I played Sky, Children of the Light, composed by Vincent Diamante, played by Fame's Macedonian Symphonic Orchestra. This is Classic FM and a revision special on Next Level. My next track comes from Subnautica, and I've played this game a lot. If I'm being totally honest, I don't find Subnautica that chill at all. The idea of being in the deep ocean where the floor is so far beneath you that you can't see it makes me uneasy. But the soundtrack can actually feel quite the opposite, as you'll hear in this next track. This one also feels a little bit spacey, and hopefully it will help you concentrate. See what you think. Here's Simon Chylinski's Cycle of Life from Subnautica. That was Cycle of Life from Subnautica, and I'm playing that for William in Faversham, Alyssa in Kentucky, Jaden in Ontario, Ronnie, who is 10 and listens with his mum Christy, and Harry in Buckinghamshire. And while we're underwater, I thought it would be cool to share music from another title that takes place in the watery depths of the sea. It's called Abzu, and the music comes from the BAFTA-winning composer Austin Wintory. We definitely need to feature more of his music on Classic FM. It sounds like this. I really, really like that one. It was Austin Wintory conducting the Nashville Scoring Orchestra with London voices into No Water from his soundtrack for Abzu. You're with DanTDM, and my next game has a soundtrack that beautifully blends fantasy with reality. It's from an indie release called What Remains of Edith Finch, which has been referred to as a walking simulator. So let this gentle, ambling soundtrack provide the perfect antidote to essay writing or number crunching. That was an extended version of Milton's Tower from What Remains of Edith Finch. Jeff Russo was in charge of the soundtrack and Alan Naslund wrote the arrangement. I've loved putting together this playlist tonight because I actually really struggled with study leave. I found it hard to concentrate, so to be honest, I just tried to avoid it. Maybe if I'd had a selection of music like this on Classic FM, it might have helped me to focus my brain. And when you've been focusing for hours, I think it's so important to find a way to decompress. Enter Fortnite.
Next Level with DanTDM.
On Classic FM.
A couple of shooters with surprisingly chilled out soundtracks. The orchestral theme from Fortnite, followed by Stephen Barton's score for Titanfall, played by the London Session Orchestra. You're listening to Next Level on Classic FM, and I think the reason that video game scores work so well for revision is most of the time there aren't any lyrics or distractions. It's all about the music. So before 10 o'clock, I've picked out even more beautiful scores from some of my favorite games, including the long-awaited return of Undertale.
Classic FM.
I've got a new Samsung Galaxy S25 with Google Gemini. And my friend's puppy for the day. So I just asked, hey Gemini, find dog training classes nearby and text them to Emma, and my phone did it instantly. Sit. One day. Buy a Galaxy S25 from Vodafone before 13th of May and save £432. Selected languages only. Google login and network connection required. Save £360 on 5 gigabytes of airtime over 36 months and £72 on handset. Credit checks and terms apply.
Back in my day.
Thousands of students took to the streets in protest today, with their chants for equality and disarmament ringing in our ears. Their motivation was clear: equal rights.
At 72, I don't do that anymore. But by leaving a legacy, I'm still in the fight. Search Oxfam Legacy to find out more.
Oh, I haven't laughed this much in ages.
I feel like I can't really let go. I know my bladder won't be able to take a real belly laugh. The floodgates will open.
You need Always Discreet pants. Total game changer.
Oh, let's have a look.
They feel just like underwear, but they're super absorbent. Plus, they fit like a glove. Have a go.
It feels amazing to properly relax and have a good old giggle. Same time next week.
Complete protection from heavy leaks with Always Discreet Boutique.
At Wix, save on Dulux Standard 2.5 litre coloured emulsion. Was £22, now £15. Shop now and feel as proud as a peacock with Wix. Terms apply.
Car owners, you could be owed thousands in compensation. If you bought a car on finance from 2007 onwards, it may have been sold with hidden commissions. My Claim Group is working hard to help. So, even if you've forgotten your details, make sure you check. Text CLAIM to 86688. My Claim Group is authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. Text CLAIM to 86688.
Claims made simple.
Thanks to their unique boutique spirit, there really is nothing quite like a Saga river cruise. There are the elegantly designed Spirit ships, the all-inclusive dining, and of course, Saga's carefully selected excursions. You know, they'll even drive you to and from the airport with their nationwide chauffeur service. How long now, Charles?
Oh, half an hour.
Marvellous. Search Saga River Cruises. Experience is everything. 2026 season on sale now. Chauffeur service available on UK mainland. Full terms apply. Over 50s only.
It's the delicious chocolate bubbles in Aero that make it a joy to eat. Aero. Feel the bubbles melt.
Next Level with DanTDM.
On Classic FM. Music for spring.
This is Classic FM.
First up, I played iconic music from The Sims by Jerry Martin, and then you heard the soundtrack for Star Stable by Alex Bellender and Jens Handel. It's an open-world horse game which was recommended to me by Ava in Germany, and I think it perfectly fits the ambience of this evening's episode of Next Level. And while we're on the theme of horses, my next pick is Animal Crossing. It's the epitome of relaxing games. The melodies in all of the tracks feel iconic, and here is the main theme from New Horizons for your next batch of notes.
The most relaxing music.
Classic FM.
That is such a beautiful version. It was Voces 8 singing Zelda's Lullaby by Koji Kondo. And before that, music from Animal Crossing New Horizons by Kazumi Totaka. I've had some amazing emails from you recently. I love hearing what you think of the music that I play on Next Level. If you want to get in touch with the show, email me via the Classic FM website. And so many of you have been requesting this next one. Abby, Sam and his brother in Diss, Owen in Coventry, Poppy in Maidenbower all wanted to hear Undertale. Lucy in Warwickshire says she's very excited to see the 10th anniversary orchestral concert in London in June. Charlie says, I'm not sure if this is the correct place to send a request. Don't worry, Charlie. I definitely got your message. And Kane from Sheerness says, love that you're spreading the music of gaming to everyone so we can all enjoy it. How could I refuse? This is Toby Fox's music for Undertale. I love that piece so much. It's Fallen Down from Undertale by Toby Fox. Thank you so much for listening this week. I think this genre of music is perfect for studying, and I hope that this has helped take the edge off of what can be a really difficult time. You can also listen back on Global Player if you need a revision playlist for the rest of this week. Next week, we're going to be celebrating the amazing music that's come out of the gaming world this year. There's AAA games like Civ 7 and Assassin's Creed Shadows, but also a brand new recording of Jessica Curry's BAFTA-winning music for Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, which I think is going to sound incredible next week on Classic FM. Thank you for joining me tonight for Next Level. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time at 9 p.m. Saturday.
Classic FM.